Alright guys, welcome back to the HD pregame show. Now this is going to be WhiteRa versus Tasteless set number 2. In set 1, WhiteRa really just overran Tasteless with a great 4-gate push. Tasteless just couldn't hold on to that ramp. If we had seen some more force fields on his little ramp on Metalopolis, he might have been able to hold. Unfortunately, his micro not holding up, and the timing push, the attack was just so great from WhiteRa. And so WhiteRa was able to take game 1, Tasteless choosing Steps of War for game number 2. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and move on. By the way, check out our application, iRip. It is the sponsor that has sponsored the entire HDH Invitational, so make sure to check that out.
Hey guys, this is HD. I am here with Husky. We are here for the second set between Tasteless and WhiteRa, and it looks like Tasteless has once again spawned as Protoss. Now, before we begin any further, I do want to mention iRip, the company that has sponsored the HDH Invitational. If you guys haven't checked out their application yet, make sure to Google it. Just Google and type in iRip as one word. Great application, great sponsor. They've done a lot of work for us. And so, back to this game right here, Tasteless has actually lost the first game to WhiteRa, who decided to go for a 4-gate push against Tasteless. Tasteless going for 2-gate robo, was not able to hold off his ramp, although he tried very valiantly. And so now we are here on Steps of War. Tasteless choosing Steps of War, which is a close rush distance map. And so perhaps he's going to try to do something a little funky. We've seen a lot of players choose Steps of War after they lose. So we'll see what happens in this game. Husky, go ahead and say what's up.
Steps of War there, like you said, is very common to do a lot of cheese kind of proxy on, and so kind of surprised to see that go against WhiteRa, because WhiteRa, he did that last game. It's what he loves to do, is proxy pylons, proxy gateways, proxy nexuses. Man, he'll do everything. But one thing I do want to mention is our new prize pool. There was $1,000 added from iRip as a direct response to the feedback and kind of just enthusiasm of the fans. So they did add $1,000 more. So our new prize pool is going to be $2,000 for first place, $1,000 for second, and $450 for coming in at third place. So definitely absolutely outstanding, and hopefully this will bring a lot of attention to StarCraft 2 and get even better prize pools here in the future. So right now the openers for both players are going to be the same, which is exactly what we saw last game. If you look at the production tab, it is absolutely identical there. But last game, it didn't start to diversify until after about the second gateway. But we should be seeing... well, I'm kind of curious to see what Tasteless is going to do. If he's going to go for the 4-gate himself to try and, well, if it works for him, maybe it'll work for me. Or is he going to go for that early Robo Bay once again, which is more standard, pretty safe. You can transition into an expansion fairly easily, unlike in the 4-gate, where you can just get overwhelmed by higher tier units if you do that 4-gate. But it does look like he is getting his Cybernetics Core and then his Pylon, very similar to last time, and it looks similar stuff here from WhiteRa as well. And I believe that last game, WhiteRa had a slight probe count advantage going into this part of the game, which he does right now, as his probe count is just a little bit ahead. Once that probe spawns, you'll see that 18 probes for Tasteless, 19 for WhiteRa. So it looks very similar to last game.
Yeah, actually, Tasteless got a little bit supply block there on this pylon. He was stuck at 18 for just about 10 seconds, so that is going to hold him back just a little bit. And as you mentioned, that is why he is one probe down right now. So Tasteless, a little bit flustered from game 1, I must say, as he really just kind of got overwhelmed by that 4-gate push. Let's go ahead and take a look at the production tab. Looks like WhiteRa going for the same exact build as last time, where he gets that early stalker out. An early stalker is very good to deny those probe scouts, which is what he wants to do should he try to go for another 4-gate. The entire basis of 4-gate is to not allow your opponent to see that you are indeed going for an early rush. And look at this, he's already researching Cybernetics Core. He kills off the probe, and so now that he's killed off the probe, I think he's going to chrono boost the Cybernetics Core and then maybe throw down 3 gateways in addition. Look, he's got to kill off this probe as well, and yeah, look at this, chrono boosting the Cyber Core after the scout has been destroyed, and I think we might see WhiteRa once again go for that 4-gate push against Tasteless, who this time is actually going for the 2-gate robo yet again.
Absolutely, he is going to be doing that. It looks like he at least has 3 gateways on the way, and his probe looks like it's positioning himself to do another... I kind of really want to see what this probe makes. He is going to make another gateway.
Yes.
So what's really unfortunate about this for Tasteless is if we're looking at what WhiteRa can see, he has already seen that Robo Bay, but if you look at what Tasteless... Whoa, those stalkers just killed each other. Absolutely perfect timing there as WhiteRa makes a cute little face, but if you look at what Tasteless can see, he can only see that one gateway because his probe did get denied. Now he's got to be assuming, hey man, WhiteRa's going to go the same build. It's already worked for him. Whoa, WhiteRa actually gets a Zealot in here. No way, as he's going to be harassing these probes as Tasteless turns his probes around, but he is going to lose 1 probe, possibly 2 probes. No, he saves that probe just barely. So that attack probably not really worth it there for WhiteRa, but I'm kind of surprised to see Tasteless go for the same Robo build that he went before. He's getting the Immortals as well with the 2 Warp Gates. He may be throwing down an additional Warp Gate like we saw last game, but we could see, well, we're seeing the exact same builds. Are we going to see the same result though? We're going to have to wait and see.
The Observer for Tasteless is coming in, and he is going to see this 4-gate push. Meanwhile, the proxy pylon has been erected just outside the rocks. I like the positioning of this pylon. You can actually warp in units at that little corner on the low ground, I believe. Now Tasteless gets his Observer in. He sees exactly what's going on. He sees the 4-gate build. He sees, actually, there's a robotics facility going up as well. So WhiteRa almost kind of transitioning into robotics should this 4 warp gate push fail. So he's got a nice transition going. Tasteless, though, is going to definitely be pumping tons of units to defend against this 4-gate push. The proxy pylon is up. The proxy pylon is up. And is WhiteRa going to make a push out? I think he should, because if he doesn't make this 4-gate succeed, then he is considerably behind, especially considering Tasteless has now got a second Immortal on the way. The robotics facility just now pumping on a lone Observer, so really no Immortal tech. And whoa, WhiteRa actually getting a Nexus down, so he's not going to commit to this 4-gate. It doesn't seem like. It looks like he's just going to use this 4-gate to defend his expansion. So I'm not quite sure what is going on here, but maybe he's just making a small change into the fact that maybe he saw this Observer come in, and now he knows that Tasteless is prepared.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting to see him get that Nexus. Usually you want to get that as you're attacking. He was able to snipe that Observer for Tasteless, so now Tasteless is going to be in the dark right now, and so he won't know if there's going to be a push coming. But yeah, the early expansion here from WhiteRa is kind of baiting Tasteless. He's saying, come to me, come on, you got to, otherwise you're going to fall behind in the macro. Although knowing Tasteless, he may just move out anyways to secure a win, but at this point, it should be in WhiteRa's favor. WhiteRa does go for a more probe-heavy count, which once again, 28 probes for WhiteRa, only 23 for Tasteless, so every second that goes by, he is falling behind. I would give the unit mixture advantage to Tasteless here, so it's really going to come down to micro. I mean, how many times do we hear that? But really, in these early stages of the games, it's super micro-intensive, so we want to focus on the Immortals. Here comes the attack right now. That is so Zealot heavy here, so Tasteless needs to use the force fields, although his army gets completely separated there. The Immortals not able to help out their allies as much as they need to, so perfect force field placement there by WhiteRa. That is going to be a complete slaughter on Tasteless's end as he's going to back up. Even going to be losing these Immortals. WhiteRa, a total monster. Tasteless is going to GG out of that game. Tasteless being well-mannered like always. We love them. And so, wow, talk about good control there from WhiteRa. I was a little bit worried because it was so Zealot and Sentry heavy. Those Immortals could have done so much more damage as they do additional damage to armored units. But the force field placement there, way too strong for WhiteRa. So he is going to cruise on to the round of 4 as Tasteless got knocked out. And that was super exciting. I can't wait for the next series. Do you have anything else to say, HD, before I pass out?
Well, WhiteRa, I do have to say, aside from the great micro, I like his play because he forced Tasteless, he told Tasteless, look, I've got 4-gate, and then he made Tasteless basically use all of his resources to pump out reinforcements because Tasteless was expecting the push. Meanwhile, WhiteRa was pumping out mass probes. You guys can see the probe difference here. And then it just came down to who had more economy in that big battle, and of course the micro as well. So WhiteRa playing very well, playing a little bit psychology there, I gotta say, and he was able to get out with the double win. So he advances on to the round of 4.